Why can someone just fall out of love overnight? Last night they were whispering sweet nothings, and today they're acting like a stranger, walking away without a second thought. Today, I'm going to break it down using psychology to give you an answer you probably haven't heard before. Stick with me, and you might just fall in love with psychology too. First, let's clarify. We're talking about situations where two people were genuinely in love. We're not talking about players or people who were never serious to begin with. You've got to learn to spot those types. Deep down, we all know that if someone truly loves you, they can't just flip a switch and stop caring. People aren't robots. We're emotional, we form attachments, and we value relationships. Love is like a slow-moving river. It doesn't just dry up overnight. No one can truly cut off a relationship that quickly and cleanly. So if it's not an abrupt change, that means there were signs long before the breakup. What you think is falling out of love suddenly is actually the result of a process that's been happening under the surface for a while. Here's the thing. When someone says they don't love you anymore or decides to leave, that's just the surface-level explanation. The real reason is rooted in human nature, our instinct to seek pleasure and avoid pain. This is why even two people who once loved each other deeply can end up going their separate ways. It's in our DNA to avoid things that hurt us and pursue things that benefit us. From a social psychology perspective, we're wired to survive and thrive, so we naturally avoid loss, danger, and anything that threatens our well-being. Now you might be wondering, if that's the case, why didn't they just say something earlier? Why drag it out and pretend everything was fine? Well, it's because they were stuck in a psychological conflict. When they were weighing their options, it wasn't a happy process. It was agonizing. That's why they hesitated. From the first moment they felt disappointed to the final decision to leave, they actually gave the relationship multiple chances. That's why they stayed in this painful limbo for so long, torn between staying with you and walking away. This kind of internal struggle is what psychologists call an approach avoidance conflict. They're stuck between two choices, both of which come with pain and loss. They want to avoid both, but they have to pick one, and it's tearing them apart. That's why they delay making a decision. Loving you means staying in a cycle of disappointment and pain, but leaving you also comes with its own kind of hurt. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, unable to commit to either choice. In cases like this, there's actually a lot of room for repair. The relationship isn't necessarily doomed if both people are willing to work on it. But there's another scenario. Maybe they never really loved you that deeply to begin with. Maybe they were always looking for a way out, or maybe they met someone else who caught their attention. This is what psychologists call a double approach avoidance conflict. Basically, if one option seems clearly better and the other clearly worse, the decision is easier. So when the timing feels right, they leave without looking back. This explains why some relationships are doomed from the start. That's why I always tell people, don't try to win someone's heart by trying to impress them. Love built on guilt or obligation is like a bubble. It looks pretty, but it's fragile and can pop at any moment. You might pour your heart into planning grand gestures, and sure, they might be moved in the moment, but that's not real love. The truth is, a breakup doesn't start the moment someone says, it's over. It starts the moment they stop loving you. It's like a silent avalanche. While you're still lost in the fantasy of a happy future, the danger is already creeping in. You think you're in it for the long haul, but they can stop in their tracks and walk away in an instant. Got it? If you're dealing with relationship issues, feel free to talk to me about it.